multiple union delegates who have previously served as some of the highest ranking outlaw bikie gangsters in the country with very serious criminal convictions. These are guys who are now in charge of pushing the union's business.
Victorian government construction projects were at the centre of several allegations. The state government says the allegations are extremely serious and will need to be investigated by the appropriate authorities. The condemnation has been widespread.
There's one union that is militant in its behaviour and has driven down productivity and the viability of projects, and that's the CFMEU.
The Albanese government scrapped the Australian Building and Construction Commission in 2022, with responsibility for compliance handed over to the Fair Work Ombudsman. The Victorian opposition says today's allegations show the need for a new independent watchdog.
It's time to get a cop on the beat to clean up the industry that Labor has allowed to run rife for far too long.
The CFMEU and John Setka have declined to speak to the ABC today. Sasha Payne, ABC News, Melbourne.
And the South Australian Premier has spoken with the Police Commissioner about the allegations being levelled at the CFMEU. Peter Malinauskas is on leave, but today has been in contact with Grant Stevens, as has Infrastructure Minister Tom Koutsantonis. He says the government and police are cooperating to ensure that companies which have ties to the union and are bidding for work aren't also associated with organised crime or biking.
The Police Commissioner, the Premier and I are focused and are of one. There can be no links to organised crime or bikies to anyone working on any project here in South Australia.
The hunt continues for the killer behind the deaths of 3 people, including an Australian couple in a hotel room in the Philippines. Police are tight-lipped about a motive for why they were brutally murdered earlier this week. Southeast Asia correspondent Lauren Day reports from Tagata.
Even with a triple murder, I seem unperturbed. Spectacular views which bring tourists like David Fisk, his no one could have known in such a beautiful place. Crime. The hunt for their killer, believed to have been captured in this CCTV footage, is still underway. The Mayor has demanded the police chief show results fast.
1 week or 7 days, if there's no progress result, then they have to release my citizens.
Australia is extending help to crack the so far bewildering case.
We have offered whatever assistance is required.
Sydney-sider Steve Tawney is a regular visitor to the Philippines.
It's difficult for us being Australians for it to happen, and me having my family here, it's scary as well at the same time.
He hopes Australians will keep coming here despite this gruesome crime.
I don't think so, and I don't think all Australians should worry about, been here for over 10 years back and forth.
Tributes for the victims are being posted online. One describing David Fisk as gentle, generous, a decent human being. Another posting, "Rest in peace to my beautiful friend Lucy."
Police are remaining tight-lipped about exactly how much they do know about the killer. What were his last known whereabouts? Is he still in the area? Did he know the family? But they've again pledged to find him as quickly as possible.
We are working. We are doing all of our best.
A wish shared by the families of the victims. Lauren Day, ABC News, Today Time.
US President Joe Biden has hit out at his critics and the media, arguing Donald Trump has been given a free pass while speculation over his future swirls. The president took his campaign to the must-win state of Michigan, telling supporters he isn't backing down.
A rapturous response in the suburbs of Detroit.
I'm not going home unless we get one sign. And that is Motown is Joetown, and it is. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
Joe Biden brushed off his stumbles at the NATO summit, where he introduced the Ukrainian president as the Russian leader and mixed up the names of his vice president and Donald Trump.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president.
Suggesting he's been treated unfairly by the press.
They've been hammering me because I sometimes confuse names. I say that's Charlie instead of Bill. But guess what? Donald Trump has gotten a free pass.
The president dismissed party insiders and donors telling him to withdraw from the race.
There's a lot of speculation lately. What's Joe Biden going to do? Is he going to stay in the race? Is he going to drop out? Here's my thing. I am running, and we're going to win.
And in a week where he lost the support of celebrities George Clooney and now Ashley Judd, who've urged him to gracefully step aside, he found some star power in Oscar winner Octavia Spencer.
Are you ready to have Joe Biden's and Kamala Harris's back? I can't hear you, Detroit. I can't hear you, Michigan.
Joe Biden's campaign insists the president is putting in the work to convince Americans he's up to the job. But more than a fortnight from his disastrous debate, concern within his party has only deepened.
100% of the phone calls into our office are asking me to act.
The time has come for President Biden to pass the torch.
A message he's once again rejected.
We got to finish the job, and I promise you, I am.
News, Washington.
The manslaughter against actor Alec Baldwin for the
Hey, my baby puppies. Good girls. Hey, my puppies. You can come up.
The judge after the actor can never be retried.
In a few words, Alec Baldwin's trial was soon over.
Sanction of dismissal is the only warranted remedy. The jury has been sworn, jeopardy has attached, and a mistrial would not be based upon the evidence presented.
The judge weighed a motion to dismiss. Evidence of a box of bullets with a mix of live and dummy rounds had been withheld from the defence, and that was enough to seize the case.
This evidence is material. The late discovery of this evidence during trial has impeded the effective use of evidence, such as attacks on fundamental proceedings.
Police body cam video footage shows Alec Baldwin after the fainting. The revolver Baldwin discharged on set killed a live round, which killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins and injured director Joel Souza.
What's your job there?
I'm the armor.
The film's armourer Hannah Gutierrez was responsible for the safety of weapons on set.
Oh my God.
In March, she was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 18 months in jail.
The motion to dismiss with prejudice is granted.
For Alec Baldwin and his family, the relief in court was palpable. The judge ruling he can no longer be tried for Miss Hutchins' death.
It was a stunning conclusion to this Alec Baldwin prosecution. It was a disaster for the special prosecutor. It raises questions about this entire investigation.
I believe that the importance of the evidence was misconstrued by the defense attorney. But I have to respect the court's decision.
Do you feel you let the Hutchins family down?
The dismissal lifting a significant weight from Alec Baldwin, but leaving few answers for the family of Helena Hutchins. Jenny Lavelle, ABC News.
With disproportionately high numbers of First Nations people in prison, inmates in far west of New South Wales have been allowed to take part in NAIDOC activities for the first time. At the Broken Hill Correctional Centre, 70% of the inmates identify as having Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander heritage, despite only accounting for 10% of the city's population.
A small fire burning in the yarning circle in the women's section of the Broken Hill Correctional Centre. It's a celebration of the NAIDOC theme for this year. Keep the fire burning, black, loud and proud.
And we're really proud of it and really excited to go and teach.
The women are excited to be the first inmates to receive lessons in the local language, Markanji.
Or you could say see you later, which is Bummy, Buma.
The aim is to improve connection to culture. The women also took part in smoking ceremony to ward off bad spirits. For one inmate, it's the first time she's felt comfortable to reconnect with her culture.
This is the only jail that I've been allowed to understand who I am.
In the men's block, a didgeridoo echoes across the prison grounds. Teaching the men how to play the traditional instrument. He says it's essential First Nations prisoners are given an opportunity to gain cultural skills.
We do so much on the outside that we often forget about those who are incarcerated in our communities. So to be able to come in and showcase cultural activities and spend time with people is extremely important.
The inmates value the chance to connect with elders.
Yeah, it's good to hear some of their stories and that, and trying to pass on, share their stories to us and to the young fellas there.
NAIDOC Week isn't the only time inmates are given an opportunity to connect with their culture. As a requirement for all state prisons, the Broken Hill Correctional Facility offers a monthly Aboriginal Committee meeting where inmates can share their stories together and raise any issues that are impacting them as a cohort. Since starting as the manager of security at the prison 10 months ago, Michelle Thompson has been a strong advocate for changes to the way inmates access cultural activities.
If we can connect them with their families and their culture, then they have a purpose, a sense of purpose, and a better as family members.
While these opportunities are valued, the main aim for all inmates is to return to their families in a better place than when they were sent to prison. Broken Hill.
There's a good chance keeping your home warm this winter a constant and expensive battle. Recent changes to the construction code mean new builds across most of the country must meet increased energy efficiency standards. But experts say creating a warmer house doesn't have to break the bank.
So this is our place. We got it 2 years ago.
Bianca Knox fell in love with this 1970s Canberra cottage, but there was a glaring issue.
You still have to walk around wearing jumpers, scarves, at all hours, so it was very cold.
So she got to work, plugging gas, removing the fireplace, and replacing old exhaust fans.
The fact that we've filled the gap so that it's holding the heat makes such a difference to how long we have to have that on, how high we have to have it on.
The changes have dropped the home's air climate 20%.
The original sort of winter period in the sort of high
Girls.
we could bring it down to
I've got a feeling I like it. Fussy.
Changes to the construction code are trying to dial. New builds must now meet a 7-star efficiency rating, meaning they require a 30% less energy to heat and cool than a 6-star home. The building industry has warned those changes could add thousands of dollars onto the cost of construction.
Builders in the past typically have been able to use the same designs again and again and plonk them on blocks without thinking about orientation. Now this leap to 7 stars will require builders to change the design. So there's quite a lot of opposition because of that.
Sustainable building expert Jenny Edwards says new houses